The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to my review show here of TripleMania 31 Tijuana from the Estadio Caliente in Tijuana, Mexico, in front of 15,386 fans. I'm your host, California. Great to be with you all once again. I am going to get through this very, very quickly, okay? I hope anyone out there wanting to know how I felt about TripleMania, I hope you enjoy this, okay? But I'm going to try and be very quick, okay? We started off the feed with some bull mascots, and they were brawling in the ring as we opened up proceedings. There was an opening ceremony, which I skipped. And then we got to the Copa TripleMania match, which featured, here we go, Laredo Kid, Puma King, Taurus, Rey Misterio, Heredero, Gringo, Loco, Willie, Mack, Mr. Iguana, Nino, Hamburguesa, La Hiedra, Flammer, Myzteziz Jr., Jack Cartwheel, and Dinamico. So this is like a Royal Rumble match. People eliminated by a pinfall over the top rope, etc. They do this quite often in AAA, from what I can gather. So here we go. Jack Cartwheel. He's one of the first guys out, and I knew immediately that he was weird. Myzteziz Jr. was next, and his name is very irritating to type. It's almost as confusing as trying to spell out Larry Zbyszko's surname. The countdown noise that they had between, when it got to the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, the sound that they used for it was very, very irritating. It reminded me of like one of those old school alarm clocks that you get. Whap, whap, whap. It was really, really annoying. So I hope next time they pick a more subtle sound that is a bit more chill than that. Dinamico was next. I thought honestly they could have done without the Rumble here. I'm really sick of these days with Rumbles and Battle Royals where half the guys in the match just go under the bottom rope to the outside. And they just wait there. That's not supposed to happen. And I think there needs to be a rule change. I think too bad, so sad. You're going to have to stay in the ring. The ladies came out, Flammer and someone else. She wasn't even technically in the match, but she was teaming with her. Sorry, La Hiedra. Was it La Hiedra and Flammer? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They hit a double destroyer, which was pretty cool. Rey Mysterio, El Heredero was in next. Apparently, the original Rey Mysterio's son. Again, the countdown sound was very annoying. Jack Cartwheel, here we go. Now I am no longer ever interested in seeing you perform, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to be overly critical, but the fact that you took a tornado DDT from a rubber lizard from what's his name? Mr. Iguana. All right, he throws a rubber lizard at you and you took a tornado DDT from it. Now I know you can fuck off. And I knew by your name that I would not like your work. I'm sorry. And now I can confirm once again that I'm never going to be interested in seeing you perform because I know it's going to be a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry, but I don't fucking like that stuff. It's stupid and it makes you look like a fucking clown, bro. Taurus comes in, destroys a bunch of people, and I thought he should have won it. But then there was mask rip attempt number 1 of the show. Misterio gets eliminated. And when he got eliminated, I thought, well, he might as well just eliminate himself the way that he jumped out the ring. Willie Mack with the spot of the match, I would say. He dances, and some of the girls dance with him, and I thought it was pretty cool. Jack Cartwheel got kicked in the dick and eliminated. Thank you. And then Mr. Iguana, who'd already been eliminated, then interfered, and the referee clearly did not give a shit. It went down to the two ladies, and La Hiedra got the win over Flammer thanks to Iguana. So there we have it. I just felt like that was a pointless match, and it really didn't do anything for me or whatever. Let's move forward. Dalys or Dallas? Dalys, I think. Lady Shani and Sexy Star takes on Kamille, my queen, Natalia, Markova, and Viva Van. I thought this should be fun. Natalia looked very, very hot. Let's just be honest. And there's my favorite, of course, Kamille, my favorite. And she's out there. That's why I was invested in the match, because she was in it. It took like 3 minutes for them to ring the bell, which I could see Natalia Markova react to that on the ring apron, being like, what the hell's going on here? And then, you know what? I think Sexy Star, this is the second Sexy Star, by the way, not the one that you might remember from Lucha Underground. I think she should work some NWA shows sometime. And I think maybe it would be cool to see her and Kamille work some matches. Star goes for a dive to the outside onto her own team. Viva Van, who I've never seen before. She is a sweet plancher from the top rope to the outside. I thought a plancher or a plancher was a flip. So maybe we can just call it a somersault. Natalia, she does some good stuff, taking some good bumps. She's underrated, dude. Underrated. Kamille with the rack and the bomb. I call it the rack and bomb. I reckon I'd call that the rack and bomb on Dalys. The table is set up on the outside. Kamille was climbing to the top rope, and I said, thank God she did not jump. I didn't want her to get hurt. She got a superplex to the inside from Sexy Star, who had some cushioning for her bump. And by that, I mean her bum. It was getting wild, and it was hard to keep up with what was going on, because I know that tags don't matter in Mexico. I know that. Okay. I'm very well aware of that. Mike Tenay told me about that from when Worlds collide in like the mid-90s. Huge drop kick on the electric chair. Kamille had one of the ladies with an electric chair, and Natalia hit a drop kick off the top to, it's almost like a doomsday device, but with a drop kick. But I think Natalia's drop kick might have caught Kamille in the head. So there's not much in the way of selling here in this match, unless there's a spot taking place. Because, you know, a spot's taking place, so that's where people sell. And I think that selling could have taken place a little bit more. And then Hiedra, who I don't know what the story is here, and I'm sorry, but she starts attacking Dalys, and I'm like, can we not book the interference a little bit more interestingly and not so blatantly? Like, the referee didn't even try to give a shit about the whole thing. I understand that maybe the referees are more lax in Mexico or something like that, or in Lucha Libre. But for me, I just thought this is like way too lazy of a way of having somebody interfere. Kamille takes this dive to the outside from Sexy Star, earning her paycheck. The referee just gets fucked on here. Meteora, the referee is still out after all this. But then soon after this, Shani, or Lady Shani, is it Lady? I can't remember. Hang on. Lady Shani, she ends up getting the pinfall victory over Viva Van. And it was okay. I just think that these relaxed tag team rules make things a little bit messy at times. Hang on a second. No, thought I got a message then to quieten down. It is like nearly 2 a.m. Let's move forward. There's an angle with the referees because there was a situation with it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. I just think the relaxed tag rules make things a little bit messy. Let's move forward. Aramis, I don't know. Jack Evans and Vampiro take on La Rebelion, the NWA World Tag Team Champions, and Pagano in a 6-man with Estrelita at ringside. I had no clue that Mecha Wolf was a punk rocker. And he sang with a band for the entrance, which was very cool. Again, though, I don't get it with Vampiro. On April 12, 2019, he stated that he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and also Parkinson's disease. And he had stated, or he'd alluded to the fact that wrestling in his current condition is an insult to Lucha Libre. He doesn't want to put on an embarrassing performance or offend paying fans, and he could die with one bad hit. He's putting his ego aside and accepting that his time has passed. 2009, 40 years later, if you had Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, why would you still be wrestling? I don't want to hear any bullshit about, oh, well, he's vegan now and he's this. If you've lied about having Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and you're still wrestling. I'm sorry, man. That's just really not cool. And I wonder, does AAA have a weekly TV show? Because I want to know how it works when they go between these big shows. I've seen Pagano before in XPW, and I like him. And La Rebelion are just great, bro. They're great. They're great. They've always been great. And I'm guessing that they and Vampiro are no longer a team in the NWA. So that's what happens when you don't watch the weekly show and you only watch the pay-per-views. A lot happens between. Pagano squashes the shit out of Vamp with this elbow drop off the top rope, lands full flush body on his shoulder. And that's 2 TripleManias in a row that Vamp has copped it sweet, bro. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out people's names here. Estrelita at one stage was standing next to what's his name again? Jesus Christ. Aramis, whatever his name is. And it was clear that she was going to get pulled in front of him and get squashed in the corner by one of the guys from La Rebelion. I thought Jack Evans, who I haven't mentioned yet, or this match, he was doing very good in this one. The last few times I've seen him in AEW, I thought that he was having a hard time not botching. The smoke cleared at one stage and it went down to Vampiro and Pagano. But this referee was taking so long to make a count, dude. And I'm not being an ageist, but get some young referees in there, because it hurts the suspense when the referee is counting so slow and he gets down so slowly. It seemed like they only had 2 referees the whole show, or maybe 3, but that's just me. We get a mark of the beast from La Rebellion, and he kicked out of it, and I was just like, wow. And then here comes another interference. The AAA Tag Team Champions lay out La Rebellion, and I'm sorry, but everything with Vamp and Pagano after this was very messy. I'm assuming Vamp is actually injured. He had to have been. Taurus and a masked guy attack them both, revealing who's been attacking Pagano this whole time, because the story about all of this was like Pagano thought that Vamp was attacking him. And I don't know, is it Tejano? He was revealed to be the guy under the mask. Estrelita gets laid out with a very cool sit-down powerbomb. I'm guessing this became a no contest, but from the outset, this show, 3 matches in, too much interference. It's overbooked. Let's move forward. Team Bayer of Damien Says, Nicho El Milenario, Ray Horace and Extreme Tiger with Brandon Monero, the rapper, at ringside, take on Team Chilango with Argenis, Chessman, Daga, and Negro Cassis. So I believe Nicho is Psychosis. So again, the show so far has been a bit of a mess. And here comes another multi-man. And it's okay. I understand it's Lucha Libre. But maybe Lucha isn't for me, because at this point, I'm not enjoying the show. Maybe I need to check out some CMLL to see if they do it a little bit differently. And I keep thinking to myself, why can't he just be Psychosis? I understand that there's a thing and someone else took over the name, but like, why would you give the name to someone? To me, that sounds so stupid and backwards. That's who it is. The original guy is who it is. I understand WWE had to replace Sin Cara with a different Sin Cara, right? I think, was it Hunico? Sometimes that stuff has to happen because I guess they invested a lot of money in Sin Cara and it didn't work out. Anyway, let's get to the match, okay? Negro Casas was bleeding like a stuck pig from Psychosis. I'm going to just keep calling him Psychosis. He was going after him. I think he wanted like a big win over this guy after 20 years of trying to get a win over him. Both teams were just letting Negro, Casas, and Psychosis fight. The old bloke was getting worn out by Psychosis during this match, and he, you know what? Props to Negro Casas for his selling. But there was a spot of the match with a rapper dude. What's his name again? Brandon Moreno. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. He got involved in the match. He ended up getting whacked with a chair by one of the guys in the other team. And he he was going to get thrown to the outside after that. He just did not sell it properly. It's like Machine Gun Kelly getting powerbombed off the stage by Kevin Owens and getting up straight away. Somebody please tell these guys, don't get up, sell, right? Because you make it look stupid by doing that. Anyway, Damien says with a suicide dive to the outside. That was awesome. And I thought that this match had been a lot tidier than the previous outings. Big low blow from Psychosis. He got the win. I liked the finish. That was good. Okay, the show's improving. Let's move forward. Ambulance match. QT Marshall with Aaron Solo at ringside taking on Pentagon Jr. So let's see how we go here. Straight away, as soon as the match begins, QT starting to rip the mask of Pentagon. I don't know why, but I really hate it. I don't think it should be. I think it should be so offensive that you try and do that no one would dare to do it. Barbed wire chair to the skull by QT Marshall. Penta was pissing out with blood. He got a tube to the skull. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something, a different flavor here, and this is what I'm getting in this match. QT being featured really well here, like an actual threat, not like he's a coward or a pussy like he's shown on AEW television. This is not a shitty angle with Powerhouse Hobbs that lasts for a cup of coffee. We're seeing QT Marshall in his most dangerous way. They go to battle towards that ambulance during the early goings of the match, but no camera. No camera near it. And I was like, come on, man. Let's keep skipping forward. Penta was cuffed when they got back to the ring by QT. And I liked, Joe Dombrowski. Who was his broadcast colleague? I can't find that because it was the English feed. But the guy he was commentating with, he made a comment, which I thought was cool. Because Joe was very upset with the handcuffs being utilized. And the guy said, this isn't a wrestling match. This is an ambulance match. That's a great line for a color commentator to shut down the babyface play-by-play guy who is sickened by the actions of QT Marshall. Pentagon managed to step over the cuffs because they were behind him. They were very long shackles. And he chokes QT with it to a massive reaction to the fans, or from the fans. Then apparently some guy has a universal key for all cuffs. Like, imagine there was a universal key for cuffs. Like, geez, that on the black market, mate. QT, you know what? He's very good at what he does. There was a tube shot to the head of QT, and I thought to myself, I never thought QT had this in him. I wanted him to win. I honestly wanted him to win. He missed a cutter. He sells his pain to the audience as he lands into a pile of thumbtacks. Then he gets tacks in the mouth and a kick to the mouth from Pentagon. The way that he sold the pain and he looked to the audience, pro. He's a pro. Penta then soon after got powerbombed onto thumbtacks, but we soon after get them down near the ambulance. There's a camera down there, thankfully now. A destroyer on the outside. It looked like it would have been done at that point. Penta hitting the destroyer on QT. Then they set up a double table right near the ambulance next to some big boxes, like some travel box. You know, those big black boxes that they have in wrestling, and they're always backstage. It looks like he's going for a destroyer. Thank God he didn't do it because we know what happened last time. But what a visual with them on top of the boxes there in front of that big crowd. Then we get a fear factor through the two tables by Penta. I guess it's a package pile driver, but it kind of fell apart as they fell off. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. It's a very dangerous spot. Looked like that it could have been over. Of course, Aaron Solo was at ringside with QT early on. He ended up being in the back of the ambulance and he fire extinguished into Penta's face. And then we got tubes to Penta's face. And then a diamond cutter from QT. And guess what, motherfucker? QT Marshall got the win. Thank you. Let's get to the second last matchup on the show. 19 minutes so far. And we're almost done with this review. The Guerra de Rivalidades. That's not the way you pronounce it. I'm sorry. It's the finals of this tournament where if you lose, you move forward in the tournament, and whoever the last team is in the tournament, they have a hair versus mask match at the final TripleMania show, TripleMania 31 show of 2023. Is this Rush's last AAA match, considering what I've read online? But I thought at the beginning, okay, but I understood that later on. I thought it was kind of dumb that the tag team partners were fighting their own partners, despite the odd bedfellows tag team concept here. You were teaming with someone you hate, right? And of course, LA Park, Psycho Clown get their masks ripped. I thought again found it annoying. So that's number 3 and 4, but it wasn't as bad as the first show in Monterey. Feuding so hard with the partner is one thing, but what is on the line, I think, should mean more here. And I also noticed that there were no women's title match on this show. I just thought to myself, this is crazy that the hatred would run this deep between these two teams within one another, that they would spend most of the match fighting each other. Another thought I had was, it's almost like referees are pointless in Lucha Libre. It just seems like it, you know. And it felt like also they only have 2 referees, 3 referees. Hire me, I'll do it. Why are your only options like a bunch of old guys who take forever to get down for a count? How do you build suspense for a finish in a match if they're just fighting their partners? Well, eventually we get to that, right? Everyone was pissing with blood. Don't get me wrong. It's been very different, very interesting, because, you know, not every match needs to have the same kind of fucking concept, right? It's been brutal. There's a plancher by Psycho Clown on Sam Adonis in the crowd, which was nuts. But I was thinking, man, this is going on a long time. La Parker and Psycho Clown finally getting some near falls in. Finally, some of the guys in opposite teams are battling each other. Then Adonis and Rush are fighting. And to be honest, at this point, I was like, you know what? This has actually ended up being good. But it has been long. A moonsault from Psycho Clown to Sam and Rush on the outside of the Parker follows it up with a crossbody on them all. And I thought it was taking too long to hit to the finish. Honestly, I kept on pressing the arrow to go forward in the pay-per-view because I just kind of wanted, it's 4 hours, this fucking thing. The referee gets fucked up at one stage, but eventually we get this double pin where Rush and Sam Adonis get the pin on both LA Park and Psycho Clown. So I'm assuming, because of Rush pissing off from AAA after this, that at the next show in Mexico City, it'll be LA Park or La Parka taking on Psycho Clown in the main event, mask versus mask. I don't see how it makes sense for any other main event to hit that show. And if we don't get that main event, if we don't actually get a conclusion to this tournament with the stipulation that's been placed or put in place, then I think that we've just wasted a whole heap of time. And the referee was very pissed off about all of this. Anyway, let's get to our main event of the evening. AAA mega title on the line. The El Hijo del Vikingo taking on Kenny Omega. Don Callis came out with Vikingo. And you know what? Joe Dombrowski and his broadcast colleague, I'm sorry that I forgot his name. They were trying to explain the whole reason why Don turned on Kenny. And I haven't been watching a lot of AEW television, but the fact that he turned on him because he was jealous over Kenny, God, it's terrible. How can they all sign off on that? He's jealous because Kenny's paying more attention to the Young Bucks. They were a team. All of them were a unit with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who are now in WWE doing fuck all, unfortunately. You know, hopefully they do something over there. But his reasoning after all this time, saying Kenny Omega is the wrestling god, he's the greatest wrestler of all time, and that's his reasoning to turn on Kenny because he spends more time listening to the Young Bucks than himself, or he pays more attention to them. It's so juvenile as shit. After all that time of Don and Kenny being together, that's your fucking big angle to split them up, Tony. And I've just heard about what ROH TV is like right now. I've heard that Mark Briscoe and Claudio Castagnoli's fucking world title match, which has now been cancelled because of Mark Briscoe's injury, it was all set up from a backstage fucking promo. Get the fuck off the fucking team, bro. Stop fucking booking, mate. You're fucking shit, okay? Stuff like that pisses me off because you got a billionaire dad who's fucking funneling you fucking money, and you get to be little fantasy booker with your figurines, and you're putting angles together like this. You shit, bro. That's all I've got to say. To hear all that stuff after all that time that those guys were together, and that's how they went about it. Juvenile shit fucking booking. Get the fuck out. Stay backstage, shut up, and stop going to the media scrums. Piss off. Get a haircut too while you're at it. Anyway, Conan gets Don ejected from this match, thankfully. And thankfully, this match is probably going to go between 20 and 25 minutes. Thank you. If Kenny loses, hopefully there's not a reason why he loses and he wasn't screwed over. Hopefully this is going to be a clean loss for Kenny. There's no way he's going to beat Vikingo here, right? Because you know what? Kenny and Tony owe Kenny to lose somebody clean there. Because Vikingo lost to him on Dynamite a few months back. But not only that, Kenny also didn't lose the Mega title to Andrade when he was supposed to at a previous TripleMania because Kenny had only just lost to Christian Cage. And well, we can't have the title belt collector or the title collector lose two matches in a row. So Tony ex-nayed that and asked them not to do it. And then he just ended up vacating the belt. How fucking pathetic. You fucking suck. Guarantee you, bro. Guarantee I could book the fucking shit out of AEW over you, Tony, you little twit. Anyway, I'm sorry. Seeing a singles match was refreshing. Vikingo, very athletic. The match builds on. Some Snapdragons. Here we go. You start to wear down Vikingo. Vikingo reverses it into a roll-up, the third Snapdragon, sorry. Power bomb from Kenny from a reversal. And then he hits a B trigger. Vikingo kicks out. Here we go. Here's where it becomes unrealistic. Sorry, but hitting those fucking knees to the skull, let's not normalize knees to the skull as if that they can be kicked out of. It happens all the time with Kenny matches, and it's starting to piss me off, bro. He reverses the one-winged angel into a bunch of roll-ups back and forth. Then he gets another knee to the head for a third one, 2 count. Another one-winged angel is reversed again. More back and forth between these two. And at this point, I want to talk about Kenny Omega's attitude in response to criticism over his match with Will Ospreay. And he told people to just shut the fuck up. And this is the way he does his thing. Sorry, Kenny. I don't really have a problem with you, but I do have a problem with the fact that you think you're so special that you can kick out of all of this stuff and that your opponent Will could kick out of all of that stuff. It's to the point where it's way too unrealistic. That's just me. Okay. I understand people kicking out of finishes, but the brutality of a knee to the skull, a kick, full force in the skull. Sorry. Sometimes I watch like Cobra Kai and I see all those, Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do. They're fighting each other in the school and they're kicking each other in the fucking head over and over. And the guy gets back up and I'm like, there's no way you're getting up, man. Don't normalize it, because then when people fight in real life and they watch this stuff, they might actually think, oh yeah, like I could knee this guy in the skull and I'm not going to kill him. Let's get away from that. But still, I think, Kenny, your attitude sucks. You need to shut up and ignore it, because every time you respond to it, you end up looking like a little whinging bitch. Okay, I don't think you're a bad person. I think you're probably a pretty cool guy. You'd probably be fun to hang out with, play video games and eat Doritos. I don't know, bro. But stop responding to things, because every time you do, just like Tony, you end up sounding like a fucking tosser, okay? I wish they would stop letting Tony say anything to anyone. Just shut up and stay behind the scenes and zip it. Zip it good. www.zipit.com. So Vikingo nearly dies on a reverse plant shot to the outside. He hits a Phoenix splash off the second rope from the outside to the inside of the ring. Then he hits an inverted 450. And of course, Kenny kicks out, because why would you stay down for an inverted 450? Why would you? Just because you kick out of it doesn't make it impressive. It makes me be like, okay, well, that's unrealistic. Sorry, that's just how I am, These moves are finishes. Vikingo goes for a shooting star press. He hits some knees. Omega with a big German. Another kick out. Clear cooperation with the super poison Rana. And I'm sorry that I'm nitpicking that, but that's just a bit much. And I thought, end it now, though. We get knees in the corner from Vikingo. Finally, he hits the 630 and he wins. And I'm like, thank you. For Christ's sake, thank you for giving a clean win to this bloke. Thank you for giving something back to AAA, who have already given you way too much there in AEW. And hopefully at the next Forbidden Door, you'll give New Japan something, because you already had Tanahashi lose to Moxley. You already had Okada lose to a guy with already a broken arm. You should have kept Okada special, and then maybe loses the next one. But no, Tony, you got to have your guys over. They have to go over, don't they? I see through his bullshit so much. Anyway, leave it now. Kenny doesn't need to win back within the next few months. Leave it. Okay, if you're going to go for a third one, wait till next TripleMania. I don't know, but I don't want to hear about it. And the funny thing was, Vikingo needed less to beat Omega than Ospreay did, because they killed each other and they still kicked out. And when he hit the one-winged angel and Omega kicked out at 1, that's what you got from me. And Joe Dobrowski gone on about 5-star ratings. Joe, please stop. Don't let Dave Meltzer's bullshit infiltrate you. Doing a great job, by the way, on this show. Don't make yourself sound silly, bro. His ratings mean nothing. Okay, he doesn't give Shawn versus Taker 5 stars. There's what, like 7 or 9 5-star matches in WWE history. There's like 1 in TNA, and then all of a sudden, all AEW comes along and everyone gets a fucking 5-star match just because they sneezed. Anyway, look, I'm not trying to be too negative. I actually kind of enjoyed TripleMania. The first half of it, though, I did not enjoy it. You know, Kamille is my favorite wrestler. And for me to see a match of hers and be like, I didn't really enjoy it. Maybe it's because the lay of the land there in AAA, I just didn't like the way that it was so overbooked in the first half of the show. Too many interferences, just too confusing. Tags don't matter. I understand tags don't matter in Mexico, but it just makes things more complicated and messy. But the last half of the show was really cool. And I think match of the show was Pentagon Jr. versus QT Marshall. Yes, that was better than the main event. I'm serious. I'm going to give the show a 7 out of 10. It could have got higher, but unfortunately, the first half of the show really hurt it. And also, the second last match was good, but it just went too long. And honestly, QT Marshall and Pentagon, that's the reason I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. Also, Sexy Star having such a nice cushion of a behind was also a reason. I'm kidding. No, honestly, thank you all for joining me here for the TripleMania review here in Tijuana for TripleMania 31. And I guess next month we'll be back again for Mexico City and the final TripleMania of the year. I'm California. This is the WZWA Network. And we'll see you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. Get.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.